In Yogilates, it's very important how we use the breath. So here I like to make sure that we're breathing so that as we continue to do the movements, as we travel through the class, you're making sure to move with the breath. Generally speaking, the way the movements work is when we get to the hard part of the movement, the big contraction, that's where we do our exhale. Because notice how if you contract your abdominal muscles, it naturally helps you squeeze some of the air out. So it's just natural and it helps the muscles be built in a nice lean way. And then the inhale to refresh the oxygen to help feed the muscles. So nice and deep inhale. Usually inhale is through the nose in Yogilates and exhale out the mouth. So that'll be the flow we start to establish. You're welcome to take a few cycles here. Inhale nose. Exhale mouth. And another good round. Good. And a quick moment for setting up an intention. The intention I've been kind of meditating on the last couple of days for myself is this idea of alchemy. It's transmutation. And while physical alchemy of changing objects into gold has never been revealed, it's never been figured out, the alchemy of our body changing toward a stronger body, and the alchemy of our emotions, shifting our emotions from denser emotions up to lighter emotions, that absolutely can happen. So the idea we're going to play with as we travel through our class is imagine that heat is our catalyst. And as we continue to move through our strong exercises today, we're helping to really create heat and muscle contraction, muscle work for strength. And so that heat is that catalyst, that transforming agent to help us transform our body and our emotions. And so with that idea of alchemy to help transition us on, let's take our knees into the chest, just a couple of nice circles for that low back. And so think of, the back of your mind, think of something that you'd like to alchemize. So this could be your physical body, like I mentioned. It could be an emotion that you're feeling. It could be kind of the goals you have in your life. You'd like to transition toward new goals. So whatever it is that we'd like to work on alchemizing or changing for ourselves, let that be our dedication for the practice. All this energy we use is heading toward transformation there. So then with that idea to get us started, the hips can go back to stillness. Leave the knees directly over the hips, and then the toes extend out to a nice 90-degree angle. Fingertips are going to go behind the head to lift up the head. That makes it so it's not about the neck trying to lift up. Instead, the head just relaxes into the hands. And then you're supported in this already nice lifted, strong posture. So from here, the movement's going to take two different parts. The first part is that the legs extend up to the sky. Once the legs are up, we crunch the torso up as much as we can. And then from this crunch position, we stay up with the torso, and the knees return back to that bend spot, and then the head goes all the way down to the ground. So then just like that, the legs extend, reaching up to the sky, and then crunch up, toes go back, and then head goes back. So we're going to repeat this several times. This is nice because it's not too much effort yet, but yet it's still warming up our body. So legs lifting and then core crunching, legs bending, and return. The nice thing about Yogilates is that we can oftentimes increase the difficulty. And so as you're here, we're heading toward the 5th or 6th round of it by now. So as you're here, this might be the perfect difficulty. You're feeling enough work, but it's not too much. Know that if you'd like a slightly harder difficulty range, then instead of allowing the knees to stay over the hips, you'll tilt slightly lower. So then the legs extend out still, we crunch up, and then the knees bend, and we're back down. So the legs just a little bit further away than that 90-degree angle. So let's try to go for another 5 rounds, whichever difficulty you're repeating. And down. 4, 3, two, and 1. Beautiful. So from here, we're going to take just a nice relaxing break for our spine. So grab onto your shins now, a little bit further down than the knees. And then imagine that the shins are like a huge driving steering wheel that you're driving with. And so as you pull one knee in, the other one goes out, and then you rock to the other side. This helps to ease into the hips and even that low back and sacrum. Good, one more round. And then when we release our hands, drop the feet close to the glutes. Hands are on the floor by the hips, and we rise up to a bridge pose. We roll up and we stay. So set up the shoulders nice and firm on the ground. Enjoy that nice compression of the thyroid area. From here, what we're going to do is leave the left foot down, so it may need to scoot more toward the midline of the mat. And then this right knee extends out. The knees are glued together at first. And then from here, 5 times, this right leg goes up to the sky. And then right leg goes right next to the other knee. So here's 4, lifting up and down. 3, exhale. Inhale. 2. And 1. Good. Plant the right foot. If you need to scoot it to the midline of the mat, that's okay. That slight shift. And then extend the left leg out. That's our starting spot. With the next exhale, the left leg lifts and returns. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Planting the feet down. Let's take 5 rounds of bridge pose. So roll all the way down and then lift up 1 vertebrae at a time. Exhale down. Inhale to rise. 4. 3. 2. This last one, stay up 1 more moment. We're going to, from here, pulse up and down. It's a matter of inches, just slightly up and slightly down. You feel those glutes kind of getting to be on fire now. So here we repeat 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll the hips back down to the ground. Let's go for some nice stretches. So from that one, you may note that sometimes poses get hard. Maybe the muscle groups are not quite strong enough. So always know in this class, you're welcome to take breaks as needed. That'll keep our bodies safe as we're becoming stronger. So now for the stretch, let's take a moment, extending this right leg up to the sky. Chance to start stretching through some of those muscles on the back side of the leg. Enjoy another good inhale. And exhale, this right ankle goes onto left thigh. Let's bring it in for a nice hug around the left side. What I love about this is that glute stretch. So starting to open up what was just working. I'll take another breath here. Nice exhale. As we release the hands, leave this ankle up for 1 more exercise here. This one's going to be just the left hand behind the left ear, and then we're crunching that left elbow up toward that bent right knee. So we're going to aim for 5 of those. So crunch up to the side. There's 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Let that right leg reach up to the sky. One more breath. And then drop it down. Left side gets its chance to be upward. Hands are grabbing on wherever you can comfortably reach. Just a couple of breaths. Nice inhale. Exhale, left ankle to right thigh, hug around right. And notice if the muscles try to clench up immediately. If that's what's happening, see if you can consciously give permission for some of those muscle groups to start relaxing, not needing to be quite so tight for us today. It's nice to be tight when we're working. That's where that contraction comes in. That tightness already makes it halfway there. But then we have to allow the muscles to stretch out afterwards. Otherwise, we're kind of constantly in a state of tightness in our body. Okay, as we start to release the hands, the right foot goes to the ground. This leg stays up so that we can have that bent knee to twist up to. Take your right hand behind your head, and then we try to crunch up, elbow to knee, and down. Going for 4, a nice exhale. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let that left leg reach up to the sky. Just a moment with a stretch. And drop it all the way down. Beautiful. This next one will be a bicycle movement. So at first, we're going to go super slow so we can really feel the stretch through the leg as it lifts up to the sky, just like we moved in just a moment ago. But then we're going to gradually build up the speed until we're going pretty fast. So the first several go nice and slow. That goes like this. Right leg reaches straight up to the sky. Pause for long enough to feel the backside of that leg stretch. And then slowly lower the straight leg down until it's hovering above the ground. Once you're there, bring this right foot in. You can plant it at first. And then left leg, lift it up to the sky long enough to stretch. And then lower the straight leg down to hover. Foot comes in. So let's go 2 more each side at that slow pace, and then we'll start kicking up the speed. So feel the stretch. Lower it down. And come into plant. Left. One more time each side, nice and slow. Okay, so as we're starting to pick up speed here, it's going to start to become continuous movement. So when one leg goes in, the other one starts to extend out. So let's start with this movement on the right leg, reach it up, and then as it starts to lower, the left knee comes in. As the right leg comes in, left starts to reach up and lower down. So it's very similar to a bicycle because it's that constant flow. And we're still going decently slow here. Feel how much core work has to happen to let the legs be in motion like this. 3, 2. And with this next one, start to kick the speed up a bit more. Make sure you're still trying to leave the range of motion large, so we're still trying to extend up above us before we go out. And 3, 2, 1. Let's pick it up again. Pretty fast with our bicycles now. Here's 3, 2, 1. Let's go about as fast as we can. Just a few good rounds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release that left leg straight down to the ground. Hug around the right knee. And we're going to start passing this knee open to the right hand. And then the knee crosses partway into a twist into the left hand. So don't feel like this is forceful. We're just trying to ease that hip joint a little bit more open. And the next time you cross over the body to the twist, just let yourself stay. So a few good breaths. Okay, when that bent right knee comes back in, take the left hand to the ear once again. This motion is going to go like this 10 times. The right leg reaches out to an angle, kind of hovering right above the ground. And when it comes in, crunch the left elbow to that right knee. Extending out 9. And then when it comes in, crunch. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Now release the right leg long to the ground. Hug the left knee inward. We can start passing this one open to the left hand and then crossing partway over the body into the right hand. Again, don't force anything. It's just allowing the joints to loosen up from any sense of contraction that might be present. And once again, the next time the leg starts to cross over the body, just enjoy the twist for a few more breaths. Okay, when this left hip returns back down, the left knee is bent for a moment. This is the one where we take right hand behind the ear, and then the left leg extends out to a nice long angle. As it comes in, twist that right elbow to that left knee. Extend out, exhale in, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Drop that leg down for a moment. Stretch the arms up overhead. And let yourself kind of make a walking motion with the hands. So the right arm reaches as high up above your head as you can. And then the left arm reaches as high as you can. Feel how some of those oblique muscles are getting a chance to stretch. And feel how nice it is just to have the arms up overhead for the core. Good. Let's take it once more each side. Beautiful. And then from here, what we're going to do, taking the knees bent again, it's kind of a combination of exactly what we just did, except for rather than just sticking with one side, we're constantly going back and forth, opposite elbow to knee, opposite elbow to knee. So start off with both hands behind the head, supporting that head in the lift. From here, start off with one knee in. So if it's the left knee, we already start off with the right elbow twisting toward it. Opposite leg extends out, and then we begin. Opposite elbow to knee, and switch. Know that in this one, the higher you point your legs up, the easier this will be. The lower you go down, like going right above the floor, the harder it'll be. So you get to choose your difficulty. If you go through a few more rounds and you start to feel tired, just increase the angle a bit further. Exhale. Exhale. Here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful efforts. From here, as we set the feet down, let yourself start to roll onto a side hip. Just choose whichever side helps to point you toward me the easiest. And then we're going to work through a little leg series. So in this series, rather than having the legs in line with the shoulders, you're going to bring the legs slightly forward so it's more like a banana shape. That'll help set us up for a more effective use of our core. Now, whichever hand is your top hand, rest it on the ground in front of your chest. And it's not just there to kind of be flopped and lazy. It's there to be active, to make it so our shoulders are moving the very minimal amount possible. So the first exercise we'll do here, start by rotating your top thigh upward. So the knee is trying to point upward as much as it can. We'll do a quick kick up to the sky with an exhale. And then slow lowering of the leg back down. Inhale. So nice exhale and inhale. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and this last one, when we drop down, let it rest for a moment. If we keep this engaged for too long, the outer thigh starts to really burn. So we want to get there, we want to use those muscles, but we like to give it that break so we can add in a few more reps of more exercises. So just enjoy a few more breaths as I explain the next one. This one will be leg circles. So when we begin, you'll lift the leg up about level with the hip. And what we're going to aim for is 10 small circles about the size of a tennis ball to one direction. And then we'll reverse that direction of the circle for 10 more. So when you're ready, lift the foot up level with the hip. And we're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax it down. You can start to really feel that burn there. So don't worry, we'll be switching sides soon enough. Just a couple of breaths helping to re-energize the muscles. Okay, so in this next one, it becomes especially important that this top hand is minimizing the movement of the shoulders, because with this one, the legs are going to go in front of us and behind us. So when the legs move, our shoulders are naturally going to want to oppose that movement, because that's how we stay in balance. So instead of letting that happen, this top hand pushes into the ground. Our shoulders are trying to move hardly at all if possible. So once again, take the leg level with the hip. That straight leg starts to kick all the way as far forward in front of us as we can reach without shoulders moving. And then bend the knee. Start to extend the leg behind us. That's where it goes straight again. So once it's straight, slowly swing it forward. Bend the knee and send it back. Just 3 more to that direction. 3. And 2, and 1. Good. We're going to try to go for 5, reversing that. So that means that we bend the knee to now extend straight forward. Keep the leg straight as you sweep back, and then bend the knee to extend forward. Just 3 more. Here's 3. 2, and 1. Beautiful. Drop that leg down. We've got one more exercise before we switch sides. So with this one, we're gonna come down to the bottom elbow is propped up under that shoulder. The top hand's still right there on the floor, or you can bring it to hip. That'll make it harder. We're gonna try to go for hip lifts. So from the side position here, we lift the hip up and down. Now, you may get fatigued after this, so if you don't take as many reps as me, that's okay. I'm gonna go for another 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So from here, bend the knees. We're pushing into the hands to sit up like a little side sitting position. And so the hand that's closer to the ankles, grab onto the ankles. The other hand reaches up to the sky, and then you try to lean toward the direction of the ankles. So nice lateral side body stretch. One more good inhale. And exhale, let's ease our way up. Here we can switch the legs around to be on the other side of the mat. And then we're gonna take that nice banana shape. So legs are working their way long, but then we bring them slightly forward. And from this position, the first movement is rotating the top thigh, so the knee's trying to point up as much as possible. With a nice exhale, quick kick up. Inhale, slow lowering down. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Let it rest for a moment. Okay, the next is going to try to aim for those 10 circles, and then we reverse direction for the other 10. So lift the hip up level, or lift the foot up level with the hip, and we're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax for a moment. We're still going to breathe and relax before we head into the next one, but remember, this is the one where it's so important to try to minimize the movement of the shoulders. Maybe previously you were focused mostly on what the legs themselves were doing. So see if this one you can focus more on the shoulders. Notice even while we're resting here, if you push into the ground immediately, the pecs and the core is quite a bit tighter. And that tightness is what we're trying to work on for control, and it's building up those nice postural muscles. So when you're ready, lift the top leg up level with the hip. It stays straight as we sweep it forward. Bend the knee, extend back. Be with the shoulders, sweeping forward. 4. And back. 3. 2. And 1. Pause, reverse, so bend to extend it forward and back. And here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let it rest for a moment while we start to reposition ourselves. The bottom elbow is under that shoulder. Top hand can be resting on the ground. The legs for this one are actually back in the line. If I didn't mention it before, it's not that easy to lift the hips up when it's piked forward like that. So straightening right back out to that line. Top hand can be on the ground to help us out. Remember, you don't have to do all 10, but if you're aiming for it, let's lift the hips up for 10. Exhale, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Tuck the feet in. You get to come up to that side sitting position. The hand that's closest to the ankles grabs it on. The other hand tries to reach upward, and then continue to lean toward the ankles. Okay, as we start to come up, let's stay sitting. We're going to take a nice boat pose. So we're balancing on our hips. You can absolutely grab onto thighs if you wish. That'll make it easier. The movement that we're going to do is extending the legs out and then coming in. So if you leave the hands hovering in front of you the whole time, that'll be harder. So your choice. Either way, here's 8. Exhale. 7, reach, and exhale, come in. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bottoms of feet together in cobbler's pose. Let the posture try to lift up nice and tall at first, and then let's begin to tilt forward. Nice and relaxed. Let the head release downward. Neck is heavy. It can even be loose if you'd like to rock around left and right with that neck. Okay, as we begin to lift back up, we're going to aim for that boat pose again. This time, rather than the knees being together, they're going to balance a bit wider in the boat pose. The arms can be with the thighs, or you can be, arms even wider than the knees are. And from here, the easy variation would be extend one leg out and then bring it back, and then the other leg out and bring it back. If you want to go a little bit harder, try to go both legs together, out and back, and just repeat that. And if you want even more, when the legs go out, the arms go up and then go wide. Up and wide. In a way, this can feel kind of like patting your belly, rubbing your head, whatever. And so this is a chance just to help exercise our brain, if nothing else. Exhale and inhale. If you're doing okay, here's 5, 4, 3, 2. With this last one, we come to relax and then let both legs open up nice and wide to stretch what we were just working. So if hands need to stay behind us just to comfortably sit, that is okay. If you'd like to bring hands in front and continue to slide forward, go for it. That's a beautiful variation. And again, today, if you'd like to have a little bit of liberty here, you could ease your spine just slightly to the right and slightly to the left. Sometimes that gets into some of those low back muscles that can have this tendency to get tight. A lot of people hold tension in that area. So just have freedom. If you're going left and right, that's beautiful. If you take a moment where you pause in either side or just pause back forward, that's okay also. It's whatever feels good within our bodies. Okay, start to walk the hands in. We're trying to use our core to sit up tall on our own. If that's not possible, bring the knees in so you can still sit up tall pretty easily. From here, arms open out to each side. This is an inhale. Each time we go through the center, nice and tall like this. When we exhale, we twist toward one of our legs. So if I'm twisting to left, it's going to be my right hand aiming for that left pinky toe. And then return back up, inhale. Exhale, second side, saw off the pinky toe with the pinky finger. Inhale back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 more each side. Beautiful. From here, take the legs together. And this next movement is going to be a pulsing back and forth. This will not only get into our shoulders with the arm motion that we're taking, but it also is really powerful for the core because we're going to lean back partly. So I like to start off with the arms in front of me like zombie. And then the first part is a nice exhale. I lean back as far as I still have control. And then when you're ready, come back up, inhale. The next exhale, lift the arms up overhead. And then inhale, return. So just repeating back and forth. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. A few more rounds just like that. You start to feel how maybe the first couple of rounds were easy on the shoulders. And by now, even just 3 rounds later, it's starting to get fatigue. That's what we like to feel, that light fatigue. Never all the way to pain or to stress or anxiety, but that light fatigue is beautiful. That's a great place to work from. So if you're still doing okay, 3 more rounds. 2. And 1. Good. Last inhale to reach up overhead. Exhale, just relax forward. And if you feel places that are a bit tighter, see if you can ease into them. So maybe try to work the low back itself a bit straighter, and then try to ease in just slightly deeper. If I'm doing that, I love how it includes some of the deeper muscle groups through the hamstrings. Another good inhale. And exhale, we start to rise up. We're heading toward the home stretch, so we've only got a few more strengthening things left. You'll notice I'll start to add in a few bonus stretches toward the end so that our muscles feel really long. So here, what I want us to do is come down onto our bellies. And we're going to take a variation of Locust Pose. So as we're all the way down on the belly, we're going to bring our hands either by our sides, or if you have the ability to clasp hands behind your back, try to aim for that clasp. We're going to aim for 5 cycles of lifting up with shoulders and legs and then lowering down. And then after we've done 5 cycles, then we'll lift up a 6th time and try to stay lifting nice and tall. So 5 to help us practice. Take a nice exhale. And with the inhale, we'll lift. Exhale down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Lift up one more time and try to stay. 3, 2, and 1. With the exhale, release. Press up onto hands and knees. This is going to be plank position, so you get to choose if your plank is from hands or from elbows today. We're going to try to hold and breathe for a little while. Remember, we're not dipping down. If anything, you have to dome up. That is better than dipping down. But more or less, try to stay in a nice straight plank line. We're going to do a slow count of 10. So here's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Keep the breath flowing. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Pike up all the way to a nice downward facing dog. Let the legs have some wiggles. Float the right leg all the way up to the sky. Reach that hip high. And then step that right foot in between the hands. The back knee can start to lower down to the ground. And this is aiming for a psoas stretch. So that's the front of this left hip. That psoas was what helped us do all those lifts of the legs up and down earlier. So once we walk our hands up to the thigh, reset the hips sinking forward. And you should already be feeling the front of that left thigh pretty deep. So if you don't feel that or you want more, then You would straighten the spine up and then lean backwards just a hair. You can see how leaning forward decreases the angle at that hip, and then leaning up and backward increases that angle. So you have control over how deep you're taking it based on what that hip needs right now. Nice inhale. Exhale. Let this leg straighten out. The hands drop down so we get a chance to get into the back side of that right leg again. Okay, we'll start to take this leg back. Once it's there, we head up to downward facing dog. This will be the last one. So if you need to wiggle and move, get a chance to really explore this last down dog. And when it feels pretty good, let that left leg float up to the sky. And eventually step that foot in between hands. The back knee can drop down. If you're bringing hands up to the hips, make sure you reset the hips sinking forward, nice and deep. And make sure you really do feel the front of that right hip stretching this time. So sometimes we need to sink further forward. Sometimes straighten the spine upward is all you need to do. If you still need more, a slight leaning backwards will get you there. Take another inhale. Exhale, let's straighten the left leg out and then drop the hands down. Okay, now when we take the knee back this time, let's come to just a simple cross leg shape. Notice which leg you have in front. That'll help us make sure we can switch sides in a moment. So with the legs just simple cross, bring the hands to the floor in front of you and start extending the hands as far forward as you can possibly reach. Notice how this gets us deep into that low back area. So really, really, really long. This can be a space where you just stay here. That's beautiful. If you want to ease into some of that low back space again, you can have an opportunity to walk your hands as far over to the right as you can reach, while not lifting up at all. And then an opportunity to walk all the way over to the left. If you did that, we always return forward before rising back up. And then from here, let's switch the legs out. The second leg is in front. And we'll go into the same thing again. So hands walk forward. This time, if you'd like to stay, that's perfectly fine. If you'd like to ease over to one side, begin to walk over there. And eventually to the other side. This is stretching some of those oblique muscles that were working for us if you're going from side to side. Okay, then if you went from side to side, return forward, take a good inhale and exhale. And then eventually we ultimately rise upward. We head onto our backs from here. So see if you can use your core to go as slowly as possible. One vertebrae touching down. And then the next. Super, super, super slowly today. Once you touch down to the ground, if there's other movements your body would love to take prior to Shavasana, explore any of those for a moment. Maybe this is happy baby or one last twist to each side. It's free form, so you get to choose and listen to your body for the highest benefit, whatever it is. And there is zero rush in the world at all if you're still finding quite a bit of movement and exploring through that. So no rush. At some point, our body will feel ready to just find this comfortable Shavasana position. So when you get there sooner or later, begin to just let your breath take over. Deep inhales and exhales. And imagine that all the work that we've done through this class has helped us to build up a huge fire. And then that fire has now come down to very hot coals. And so this is where the good cooking, the good transformation, the good alchemy starts to take place. The fire would burn the person, but when you get it back down to those coals, ooh, you can put that pot right on the fire, and good cooking or alchemy starts to happen. So imagine each breath you take in during the Shavasana is helping to fan those embers, helping to make space, make room for this transformation. And imagine already that idea that we were hoping to transform, that dedication we had today. Imagine we're feeding it that energy as we place that right on top of these beautiful embers. So now just trust in the process to happen as you allow breaths to flow deeply in and out for several more minutes now. Here, begin to deepen your inhales and exhales. Introduce little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Eventually rolling over to a nice fetal position on one side. Maybe 2 or 3 more breaths until we feel ready to rise up to a comfortable seated place sooner or later. When we start to arise, we'll join our hands together in front of our heart. And one more time, we recall that idea of alchemy. Imagine even just in those couple of minutes in Shavasana, we've already shifted energy around your goal and your dedication. And so no, just because this class time is finished doesn't mean those embers are suddenly out. That fire is going to continue. So see if you can use maybe the rest of this day or maybe a special time that you find this week to take maybe 1 or 2 more steps toward that hope, that alchemy, that transformation you wish to see in your life. And so with this inspiration to lead us onward, let's wrap up the time we got to share together today with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.